everyone. Welcome to the show. It's another great edition of Bring It in the House podcast show where we spotlight musicians, entertainers, artists, and leaders. Of course, I'm your host, Millie Mills, and we have a great, oh my gosh, my guest tonight is on fire. Woo! I mean, she's a psychotherapist and she deals with mental health issues and everything. And she's a songwriter. She's all over the place. She is so successful. Let's give it up for Mrs. 50 Cents. Woo! How are you?
I am awesome. I'm really looking forward to this. We've spent years working towards this point, for me, I started off in the industry back in the late 1990s after my daughter's father was drafted, first round draft pick into the NFL. So I was always around celebrities, but you can't just go up and meet people when you are with someone. That's not appropriate, right? So I was like, okay, I want to be able to meet everybody in the room without looking like a groupie. So I reached out to all these different platforms to be able to get something going. And one of those was MTV, and they called me back and was like, yeah, we need journalists who are based in Houston. And I was like, okay, that's me. And so the rest is history. I started off doing the interviews, like what you're doing. But then I was like, it took a turn. Music took a really, really dark turn into, especially in the Houston area, with lean and drug use and kids singing about doing drugs. And I just was like, I'm not gonna promote this. I've always been in the field of psychology, mental health since, that's been my goal, because my parents were really conservative, and my two older sisters are very conservative, and you can see by my look that I'm totally different from them. They would go to the library for fun, and me, I was going to the teen club. Um, so the way I kind of stumbled upon psychology was, my parents took me to see a mental health therapist, and we and they pretty much told she pretty much told my parents that they needed to work on dealing with me differently than how they dealt with my sisters. And my dad was like, okay, we're not gonna go see her anymore. He said, we took her to see the mental health, and she tricked the therapist into thinking we're the crazy ones. So so I from there, I knew that's what I wanted to grow up and become, and that's help people who didn't feel like they could identify anywhere. And all my friends were always like gang members, but I was on a roll, but I would always help to try to, encourage people to, stay out of trouble. And I was always that therapist, and so that's always been my passion, and helping others has always been my passion. So
Aww. And
yes,
it paid off for you. It has definitely paid off for you. So, Kimberly, now
definitely.
where are you from originally? I know you're in Houston right now, right? Currently?
Right. So I was born in South Bend, Indiana, Notre Dame. And
You?
yes, yes. So I have a very big influence in like the way I talk and my dialect from the Midwest, but then I grew up down south, so I still have some of that southern twang from time to time. And but
That's
then
right.
also, I'm an 80s baby. So I was born in 75 but raised in the 80s. And so all of my friends were Valley girls, and so I still have that, and
Yeah.
I don't say gag me with a spoon or anything like that, but I still have that Valley girl talk.
Yeah. I love it though. I mean, I love the pizzazz, all of it's yeah. It's you definitely, yeah, you got it. You got that what they call it factor. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely heard that my whole life. I even had people who call themselves prophets. I had
Mhm.
one tell me, they said, "You're going to be a singer," and I'm like, uh, no, because I can't sing. But now that you have Drake, who's like on R&B tracks, that's like harmonizing, and
Mhm.
even now my single Mrs. 50 Cent, I'm singing, "I am the Mrs." And and I released it on the R&B side, just independently for a soft test run. And after it ran on Eminem's Shade 45, and
Mhm.
it hit #1 on the charts and on iTunes. DJ Walla, he played it in his mix. He's a 50 Cent's King's Crew DJ and also part of the Heavy Hitters. So and he's all over. He plays at the stadiums, the Jet stadiums, for the Jets. He's like a very major DJ based in New York. So when I got in his set, and he's having dinner with 50, I'm like, okay, because it's so I have to really, oh my gosh, my husband,
Yeah.
a lot of people are like, okay, what is this? You're not married to 50. Okay, so the story for me and 50 goes like this. When I was working for MTV, 50 was blackballed in New York. So
Hmm.
he came to Houston. Word was already out that Houston was the next area to blow, and it was very well known that MTV was in Houston, and all the scouts and record labels started setting up shop. So everyone who I was interviewing or talking to or networking with, people listened. It was like E.F. Hutton. Is it E.F. Hutton? When
Yeah,
one
that's
person
it.
talks, everyone listens. And when he
Stop.
talks, yeah. Okay. And so it was like that. And so I linked him with, A&R reps that he was able to do his pizzazz and his charm and use his talent to get signed with Columbia Records. And then I introduced him to Matthew Knowles. And since they were on the same record label, they ended up doing a song called Thug Love with Destiny Child. And I was meeting a lot of different people, so I really was not, there was no way I could keep track of what was going on with anybody's career. And so he went back to New York and was about to set the schedule and shoot the music video, but then that's when he was shot, and 9 times, and he once in the face. He suffered a head wound in the jaw, and survived. And so Columbia Records dropped him from the label, and he was just like, that was just one of his lowest times. So but then Eminem gave him a chance, and he, the rest is history.
The
So
rest is
um,
history.
I remember, I don't know who it was, but I remember a group came to me and they were like, and I don't even know what name he was even using back then, but they were like, he got shot. And I was like, and they were like, but he always took a liking to you. He said that he'll be back. And I was like, okay. And I said, but I'm glad he's okay, and tell him, that I wish him well. I never knew that person ended up becoming 50 Cent. Like, I just did not know that until he came in 2019 doing a Texas takeover, and word was put out, 50 is looking for you. He wants you to come out. And I'm like, why is 50 looking for me? And I was like, okay. So I came out to his meet and greet, and the rest is pretty much history from there. He told me that at first I felt like he wanted me to work with him. And then he later told me, he said, no, you're my wife. I want you to marry me. And I'm like, I told him, I said, well, I'll marry you if you can get me to fall in love with you without spending any money. And he did some of the most creative things. It was like, one thing I can tell you that I just think is just so awesome and amazing is that, and it all links together, is that So he'll give me directions of where to go. I have no clue where I'm going, and it's like turn left here, turn right there, you know. And so then I turn and I turn and I turn. I end up in front of a mural full of paintings, you know, that are just beautiful, like graffiti, of graffiti wall. And
Uh-huh.
where I parked, he was like, "What do you see? What's directly in front of you?" And I said, "Beetlejuice." And so then Beetlejuice started coming on the television, and I'm like, okay, so what is this thing with Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice? And so then for our so we ended up getting spiritually married, long story short, so April 23rd, 2020, because he definitely he asked me 21 questions, and I answered those, and then he asked me two more, and that was would I live for him, no, would I die for him? And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, okay, that's too easy. Will you live for me? And I was like, yeah. But the way he did it was he did it in a scene of Harley Quinn and the Joker, because you know Harley Quinn is a psychotherapist and she falls in love with the Joker and loses her mind. But then after that experience, I can actually tell you, I'm not going to even go into that, you know, because it was just so weird, really bizarre things started happening. I literally like started having out of body experiences, feeling like I was being possessed, ended up in 4 different psych wards. I mean, when I tell you 50 took me through some stuff, like that's why I'm like, okay, is this all real? Because I'm like, never ever has that ever happened to me before, right? I've been in the field my whole life. But so then on our 3-year anniversary, Eminem, I made a song. I had someone to make a song for him. And then Eminem released a song. It was a DJ, and it's with Miley Cyrus, and and it was written. Well, it was released in 2017, and in it they talk about you're a supernova. Okay, so
Okay.
I Googled supernova, Beetlejuice, and then I see that there is a supernova called Beetlejuice, and then I read up on it, and I'm just like that's the type of stuff that he does. It's like he drops these little just, and I'm just like, that's so weird. Like 2017, I'm like, how long have you been watching me? You know? So yeah.
Let me ask you this. I mean, this is very interesting. So, tell the audience, what does it mean to be spiritually married? What is that to
So
exactly?
so so from 50's perspective, he always had a fear of getting married legally, because
Okay.
when you get married legally, he always says it's like if
Sign
if
your
it
life
was
away, so to
right.
speak.
Well, he does, you know, like
Yeah.
everything he works for is like, you
Yeah.
know, and then
Mhm.
on top of that, Trey got a divorce, and then he saw everything that he went through. And then, you know, also when you get married, if you have kids, you have a family, the wife leaves with everything. She takes the house, she takes half his money, she takes the kids. And that's really a lot for guys. I mean, as a therapist, I have a lot of guys who are like, they're just crushed, you know, that they're afraid of love because of what could end up happening, that could happen again, and they're like, you know, we're just not going to ever get married, you know.
Mhm.
And so he said spiritually married, so basically it was me, him, before God. We're Christians, and we made a covenant to commit monogamously as husband and wife in the eyes of God. So if you think of like Adam and Eve, when
Mhm.
there was no preacher,
Yeah.
so you know they were joined in union.
Spiritual. Mhm.
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. So you know, so that's where it said the spiritual husband. And so I just told him, I was like, okay, so now we got the spiritual done. Now let's make it legal. So
Mhm.
I don't know. And he's telling me April 23rd, 2024, on our 4-year
Okay.
anniversary, that we're gonna have a ancient Egyptian style wedding. And
Oh.
but it's so but I Google it, right?
Uh-huh.
Ancient Egyptian style wedding is their tradition is you move in together and tell the parents that you're husband and wife.
Oh,
So
you know what I was about to say? I was about to say, am I invited to the wedding?
right. Exactly.
I was about to ask you.
So this ancient Egyptian style wedding is what, and this is why he moved to, also the reason why he moved to Houston, Texas, because you have to be a citizen of the a city. Plus, I was just telling him all the opportunities, and I wasn't going to move to New York. But yeah, an ancient Egyptian style wedding is what Texas refers to as common law marriage.
Common
So
law. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
And 50, I was reading, he bought a business building, a big complex in Shreveport, right? Was it
He
last year for
so
movies?
So what he did was the building is owned by the city of Shreveport,
Okay.
Millennium, formerly Millennium Studios, and
Hmm.
so he got them to renovate it because for the city it costs more money for them to keep up empty buildings to make sure that people don't break in and so it's more feasible for them to lease out a building because then that person is paying property taxes, they're keeping the property up and things like that. And so
Hmm.
then someone like 50, it's almost 1 million square feet, and he got it for $200 a month. That's his lease, $200 a month. And it's like a 15-year lease with an option to extend at the end of the 15 years. And
Sweet.
yes, yes. And then all the jobs that he's going to bring, they are smart enough to see that it's a very lucrative deal. And so those were some of the things that I was telling 52. I'm like, being in Houston, Texas has the most billionaires, I'm sorry, the most billionaires
Hmm.
in the country. And one of the biggest reasons is because there's no state taxes.
Taxes, yeah.
Yes, and
Mhm.
even Elon Musk has relocated to Texas as
Oh, yeah.
well.
He's right
It
here
yeah,
in Austin.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. And so I told 50, I was like, these billionaires are actually really down to earth, very accessible, and they're willing to share, they're friendly. I mean, don't get me wrong, not everybody, but someone like 50, they would really truly respect and be willing to sit down with and talk to. So
Mhm.
he met with Tillman Furtada, and of the owner of Landry's and the Houston Rockets, and he started off as a restaurateur and born and raised in Galveston, Texas, and just met some really good people, the Moody's, who helped him to expand his career,
Yes.
into making his fortune. And now he owns the Rockets. And so 50 partnered with the Rockets to now he has a club in the Toyota Center, the Houston Rockets Toyota Center, where he has his Sire Spirits. He would kill me if I didn't announce it. This is the champagne. This one is signed by 50, of course. Let me say
Oh,
50, 50. And this
interesting.
one is Le Chimdewa, Le Chimdewa.
Mhm. Uh-huh.
And then this one also is there's like different flavors, but this one is also another. I have lots and lots of stuff, and of course he has his cognacs. This one is the Phantom, but he has like three different cognacs. There's another champagne bottle I have, and then he was sued by Remy because they were trying to get him to change the style of his bottle, but he designs all of his stuff, like all of his bottles,
Right. Right.
designs everything. Like he's like so artistic. Like he takes his time. It looks like a genie bottle.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. And you guys have a movie coming out, right? This summer?
Well, no, not necessarily this summer. So right now we have a book coming out.
Book
Okay.
coming out this
A
summer.
book.
Okay.
So the
Mhm.
book is phase one. That one's coming out the same day that we're getting our ancient Egyptian legal style marriage. But we're
Mhm.
coming out with a reality series, Fact versus Fiction. So yes, the name of the book is 50 Released. It's God's Child, Satan's Angel. 50 Released Massacre. He's approaching his 19th year this March. Okay.
Mhm.
So we're leading up to his 20 year of of his release, Massacre, and he has a song on it called I'm supposed to die tonight. And in it he says, sometimes I look at life from a different angle. Sometimes I wonder if I'm God's child or Satan's angel. So since he's always said he didn't know who his father was, and his mom said that he was born through immaculate conception. So 50, and he suffered his head wound and survived. And so in this book, Fact versus Fiction, 50 Cent is the Antichrist. Satan has helped him advance to the levels that he has because Satan misses God and wants 50 to redeem, to right his wrongs, and to try to turn people into doing the right thing and stop hurting one another and becoming more loving. So it's a horror story. Don't get me wrong. It's pretty. I'm telling you, when I tell you I've been in psych wards, like the things that I've been through, that I'm like, okay, is it that I'm like, this is real. This is not a fantasy story. But truth is in the eye of the beholder.
Older. Yeah. That's true. That's true. We've got some guests to tune in. Miss Johnny Walker with NAFAM is watching. Thank you
Oh,
so much, Johnny. She
hi,
said, well,
Johnny.
she said, this is interesting. Good evening, ladies. Good evening, Johnny. We really appreciate you for tuning in. Man,
Yeah.
I mean, how did it come about with that story? Do you kind of know how that came
We
about?
came out with it together.
Yeah.
We definitely came out with it together.
Mhm.
You know, like I said, with 50, he has G Unity Foundation, and he's tried to help so many kids to get on the right path, but they're still so drawn to the negativity. So he's like, okay, I'm going to give you some negative. I'm going to give you some negative, and then I'm gonna scare you so much that you're gonna end up wanting to do the right
The
thing.
right thing. Yeah.
And I don't know what powers he's using, because Sadhguru raised the deity Naga. There's a YouTube video out there, and 50 says that he received the powers of the Naga, and lots of powers from the underworld, and that he is Hanuman. It's Hindu, and so these are just like people said that I was prophetic to become a singer, and even have a positive impact on a massive amount of people. People have told him that he is are these things, that he has lots of powers, and historically. So but it's up to him. It's like a gun, it's neither good nor bad. It's about what the person who yields it, what they do with it. So he's really been studying with some really masterful people who are very known in this. And I'll have to send you the link when you see the ceremony of the Naga, and the consecration of it. He said it was the first time in, I forget how long, but it's been a long time since they've worked on conjuring these powers. But I know that from my own personal experience is real. I know that if there's God, then there has to be, in Jesus, and we have these positive powers. There has to be some, I wouldn't say negative, but some neutral powers that people could use for negative purposes or even good. So
Yeah.
it's very interesting. And
It
and last
is.
I see our time is ticking down. Our time is ticking down. So 50 insists that I also let everyone know because it's another reason why he is like delaying this, right? And coming forward and announcing it. Um, Shiba Inu. So in this book, 50 actually, when he Coca-Cola, his Coca-Cola deal, he said that he owned all 100 shares of Vitamin Water. So when he sold it to Coca-Cola, all of that money went to him. And he paid people to front as the CEOs and, but he had all the shares in that company, okay, just under different names. So he took the money and then he created blockchain currency, okay? And he helped President Obama get into office and then make blockchain currency a world recognized um, international currency that's traded 24/7. And in addition to that, so of course he started Bitcoin, and but other people started other types of currencies. But the next one that he started is Shiba Inu, and Shiba Inu. It's less than a penny. People who it started on, he did it as a gift after we got spiritually married. So it started August 2020. And anyone who put in $50 back then, as of November, ended up with $18 million. So, yeah. So if you Google Shiba Inu, Shiba Inu, and the story on Shiba is my first dog growing up. My first two were Shiba and Bambi, and I had a stuffed animal that I named Shebam, and then Inu. My dad graduated from Indiana University, and I'm a daddy's girl, so it's named after. And I also, with my dad, he passed last year. Yeah, last year in October. So
Sorry
it's
for
a
the
really,
loss.
well. Thank you for that. And so it's definitely a homage to be able to let people know. You put in $10. Once it hits $1, everyone will be millionaires. So so he's really, letting people know, look, don't say we didn't help you.
Wow, wow. Well, I
and
wanted to put,
and Eminem is also involved too. So they're going to really start promoting Shiba Inu.
okay. Well, I got to get in on that. But I wanted to play this clip that you had shared with me. I believe it's
Sure.
about the movie that
Yeah,
50
I
it's
do
Cent.
not identify as a person no more. 50 Cent says from now on we have to call him Thing 50. I don't know who the fuck came up with this, but Thing 50 is wild. But I told y'all, I seen it by the way he was standing up there in the fucking air. He got a fucking set on his show where he stands straight up and the shirts on his body start to disappear. I ain't never seen no shit like that. But by the way he was standing in the air, I said, that's not even 50 right there. All right, but I don't know what the fuck you got going on, 50. But I told y'all he's starting to act brand new. Thing 50 is wild.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, we're running out of time. I was going to ask you, could you kind of give us a little bit about, that story? But I want to stop
Yeah.
and congratulate you on your single, though, "Kissing at the Altar," Mrs. 50 Cents. That's
Well,
like
if you could play the book release, that would be great because I'm gonna
release.
re-release Mrs. 50
Okay.
Cent, Wife of
Okay.
50 Cent. But if you do the book,
Let's see.
And you went outside and you pulled a 50 cent. Told your ass we can sell it another way. Ain't no way. Ghost of Christmas.
Close to Christmas past, nigga.
you'll see some hints dropped in They Clone Tyrone too, where they're talking about 50 Cent. And then the book, the one with that has the clip with the audio that shows where we get this from.
Okay, is this one? Okay.
Okay, guys, chapter 5, technology and time travel. After the fall of Satan, God started limiting knowledge of man. They went from having full conscious use of their entire brain and could levitate objects, including themselves, inflict pain and other afflictions to one another by pure thought, to only now using 10% of their conscious brains, becoming forgetful, depressed, sad, hopeless, anxious, and fearful. The illusions of magic became less powerful. Shape shifting was less possible. Mirages, ghosts, and higher dimension spirits were less attainable, and less than 0.1% of the population, where basically they knew how to channel it, they understood it, they could see them and things like that. Animals. So that one is a short expert. People can go out to youtube.com to hear the whole thing. Do you have the one with the video with the book and 50 Cent, where he says, sometimes I look through life from a different angle. Sometimes I wonder if I'm God's child or Satan's angel.
No, I didn't get to, time didn't permit where I could upload it real quick. I do have your single, Kissing at the Altar, and then I do have your Congratulations from Kenya Moore.
Yeah, do Kenya Moore.
Okay. Yeah, that was very sweet.
Hey, Mrs. 50 Cent. It's your girl, Kenya Moore from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Hello, how you doing, girl? I know that your husband is so happy to be married to you because he wanted me to wish you a very, very special happy anniversary and also a congratulations on your release. Again, it's your girl, Kenya Moore. Your husband loves you so much, and happy anniversary.
Oh, sweet. That was very sweet. We're out of time, Kimberly. We're going to have to do a part 2. You have to come back.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
Yes, guys, this has been a great interview, and I loved every minute of it. I'm going to let your song, can we play that on the way out, Kissing at the Altar? All right.
Definitely.
I'll let you introduce it. Go ahead.
Okay, guys, Mrs. 50 Cent, wife of 50 Cent. I dropped this independently. 50 wanted me to see what it's like to be an independent artist. I respect everything you guys do. It hit the charts, #1, beat out Nicki Minaj, Ice Spice, and Doja Cat this summer. So aired on, I did say Shade 45. So this is Mrs. 50 Cent, wife of 50 Cent. I'm the Mrs. 50 Cent.
I am the missus. I am the missus. I'm Marquis baby. 50 Cent. I am the missus. 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 50 Cent. MRS. 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 I am the Mrs. 50 Cent. Soy senora. 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 50 Cent. Yes, I'm wifey. Yes, he wiped me. Yes, he likes me. We are besties. He has blessed me. Personal Jesus. I am the Mrs. 50 Cent. His and hers. 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 I am the Mrs. 50 Cent. Mr.